guys, and welcome as always. Now, as we've had the last couple of weeks or so, I've got plenty of fresh content coming your way. This week, I'm joined by former Manchester City youth star and current Chester midfielder, George Glendon. Let's bring George in, shall we? Hello, George. I hope you're well, mate.
Hiya, I'm good, thank you. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Many thanks for giving up your time to speak to me today. Just how are you keeping yourself busy during lockdown? It's a testing time for us all, really, both physically and mentally. Just how have you been keeping yourself fit and active, mate?
Just basically doing what we would normally do when we finish for the normal season, just keeping fit, going for a few runs and bike rides and that, and spending time with the family, really.
With the coronavirus pandemic ending the season prematurely, or we're waiting for 100% clarification on that, just how would you assess the current season with Chester? It's been a bit of an up and down campaign, hasn't it?
Yeah, very. We've not been consistent throughout the whole season. Maybe if we would be a lot higher in the table. But you know, I think the lads have done really well, and we're in the playoff spots at the moment. So hopefully we can finish the season on a high.
So being just 25 at the moment, you've played football near enough all your life at a high level. Just how would you describe yourself as a player?
I'm someone who always tries to get on the ball in any situation, really, and get the team playing, whether it's from the back or high up the pitch. I think passing is one of my biggest strengths for me, so I try and do that as much as I can for the team.
So as a big Manchester City fan, George, if you were going to compare the way you play to a player, would you pick someone like David Silva who likes to get on the ball and make something happen?
Yeah, well, he's my favourite player of all time. So
yeah,
no, definitely that. No, that was the type of player that you wanted to be when you was at City, and that's what they tried to make you. You know, as they call it, the number 6 position. So anyone who plays in that position in the top level, I tried to copy, really.
So speaking of Manchester City, let's just take you back to where it all started, really. Along with your childhood friend George Evans, you were scouted by City at a very young age. Just tell us how it all started for you at such a young age.
Well, I was at Cheadle and Gatley, my local team, and we used to go and play tournaments at the JJB near the Trafford Centre. And that's when I got scouted. Me and George and another lad went to City at the age of 5 or 6, I think it was, and then we just carried on throughout all the ages, and and that's what's happened basically.
So after joining the club as an 8-year-old, developing through the various age groups, travelling all over the world, looking back, it must have been an amazing thing to do at such a young age.
Yeah, it's only now when you look back, and I have conversations with my brother and all the countries and tournaments and everything that you played in, you don't really realise till you look back now. So it's, you know, as a lad growing up and supporting City, it's probably the best thing ever.
It's like you say, though, they're obviously growing up supporting City. You come from a family who were majority are all City fans. They must have been behind you 110% from the very start since joining City as an 8-year-old.
Yeah, very. I had a lot of family who would come and watch me up and down the country. You know, my uncle and my brother used to come and watch when we started getting to the UEFA Youth League games, and they used to come to Germany and all them places to come and watch me. So I've had full backing from them, yeah.
So just what was it like? Obviously, it's your dream to play football for your boyhood club. You're doing it much in respect to the opposite way to others would. You've started your career at 8 years old, playing for Manchester City, the blue shirt. You've captained Man City, of course. It must just have been a dream for you. You must have just been thinking, when am I going to wake up from this dream?
Yeah, definitely. I think you don't realise when you're playing how much you take it for granted, really. But like I say, when you're looking back on it and all the shirts and all the medals that you have, that's when you really think, flipping heck, I did all that. You know, I've still got my shirt framed in my house when I was on the bench in the Champions League. So, you know, it's every time you look at that, it's a real achievement.
So playing under Patrick Vieira and captaining City's EDS side, just how proud are you to have that on your CV, playing in the UEFA Youth League, captaining your boyhood team? It doesn't get much better than that, really, does it?
No, definitely doesn't. You know, it's a big help and factor when you were captain of a team like City, especially when they were winning the leagues and everything. So no, you know, when Patrick gave me that, I was so proud, and you know, just like my family was.
So just how was the UEFA Youth League? Obviously playing against some of the best teams in the world, some of the teams you've seen on TV. I'll cast you back to the Bayern Munich game, which really stands out for me. That 6-0 win. You scored. You got on the score sheet. A few assists there. That was a really, really good standout match, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of people at that game coming to watch. A lot of higher up people at the club. So I think a lot of the lads were nervous to play that game because everyone was watching and it was on telly as well before the main game. So to dominate Bayern Munich like we did 6-0 and to score and get a couple of assists, it was a really good game.
It must have been such a buzz after the game in the dressing room. I expect we're against such a strong Bayern Munich side to record such an emphatic win.
Yeah, definitely. I think that win took us through to the next stages really. So everyone was just buzzing, and we would play our games against the team that's the first team we're going to play against, and then we'd go and watch them at night time. So the whole day was a really good day.
So as you developed as a player at City, was it training with the first team, playing alongside so many superstars? Did it inspire you in any way, progressing through your career?
Yeah, definitely. I've taken a lot of stuff off different players when I trained with them. When I always used to look at Nasri and David Silva and people like Gareth Barry who are all midfielders, and I've taken little bits from them and tried to do the same stuff. So, when you train with the best, it's the only great thing about it, isn't it?
So after representing every single age group at City since joining the club, obviously you mentioned being on the bench in the Champions League. Were you disappointed not to make your first team debut?
I was and I wasn't, because I was just so happy to get on the bench and experience all of that. My family were all there. They got treated really special as well. So the whole night was perfect. I was gutted I didn't get on because I thought when Aguero scored the last goal, I would get on for a minute or so, but just wasn't meant to be at the time. But no, it was really, really great experience.
It must have been so good being in that company as well, being alongside the likes of Aguero and obviously Vincent Kompany. We must talk about. They're a massive servant for the club. You must have had some talks with Vinny over the years.
Yeah, well, he was captain of the first team. I was obviously captain of the under 23s, so we actually do a lot of stuff together at the club around Christmas times and events and that. So yeah, I had a great conversations with him, and when I went up to train with him or to be on the bench, he was always the one who would put his arm around me and show me what to do and everything.
Yeah, he was a definition of leader, wasn't he? And it must have been so sad to see when he made the announcement that he was moving on from City.
Yeah, I think it was a big shock to everyone because I don't think everyone expected it. I know he used to run the club when he was there, really, so he used to know everyone's name and speak to everyone, even the dinner ladies and the kit men and everyone. So no, he was a great person for the club, and I think he's missed today still.
Yeah, it was a strange time to do it because it was straight after the FA Cup win, wasn't it? Where the news came out the day after, I think it was, that he was called. But he must have had that set in his mind. He knew exactly when he was going to call it a day. It was just a matter of announcing it, really.
Yeah, I think the way he left as well, winning 4 trophies in a season. The only one that was missing was the Champions League. So I think he felt it was the right time to go. And, you can tell that definitely that City missing now. Big miss.
So from joining City at a young age to leaving the club, it must have been very, very hard to leave City after all those years of coming through as a developing player.
Yeah, it was, but I knew the time was I wanted to go on loan a couple of years before then I actually did. I had a chance to go to Holland, but for some reason that didn't work out. So, I always wanted to go on loan earlier to gain that experience. But, at the time, Fleetwood came, Rosler was there, so it was a perfect time to go.
So as you say there, from Manchester City, you made the move to Fleetwood Town. Just how did it was initially a loan spell, just how did the move come about, really?
The move came about. There's a director of football at Fleetwood called Greta Steinson, and he really liked me, coming to watch me. And he pulled me there to Fleetwood. And then Rosler got the job and decided to take me on loan till the January. And I didn't actually get a game till about October time. So I was fighting for my place in that. And then straight away as I went in October, I played pretty much every game to the end of the season and the next one.
So just how was the transition making the step up to League One, George? Obviously joining the club, as you say, on loan, and then going on to play 47 times for the club in this 2017-18 season and nailing a first team place.
Yeah, it was. It's everyone knows that when you go from academy football to men's football, it's a lot different. You know, you're playing for 3 points. There's people there fighting for the contracts to pay for the mortgage and pay for the kids. So it's if you lose a game, it's 10 times worse than when you lose a game at academy level. But no, Rosa was great for me. He was I did exactly what he wanted in the team, and I think that's why I went on to play all them games for him.
Yeah, you got a lot of experience in that season and a half, and you must have learned probably just as much as you've learned in City in all those years because you're playing full-time men's football now. After being released by Fleetwood, just how would you assess your time over that year and a half?
It was really my best times at Fleetwood. I played some great football. Like you said, I learned more in my first 6 months at Fleetwood than I did the whole 15, 16 years at Manchester City. So it's really important when lads go and get that first team experience. So no, it was really good for me.
So the following season, you made the trip to join Carlisle United. Just what persuaded you to make the trip up to Carlisle?
Well, at the time, at the end of my Fleetwood career, John Sheridan came in, and he got the Carlisle job in the summer, and he said that if he got a club before me, he'd take me there with him. And that's what happened. And I might have jumped on it too soon, and I should have waited and seen what else was available. But I went there and I started off playing well, but then a few injuries and team selections, it just wasn't a good season for me.
Now, after a long wait by your very high standards, you scored your first senior goal in a 3-2 win over Morecambe. You must remember that particular goal quite well, and what a strike it was.
Yeah, well, every game that I played, I always had my brother texting me saying, it's been this many games since you last scored, blah blah blah. So I was just happy to shut him up, really. But no, it was a good goal. Something I've been told to do more, shoot outside from the box. So no, I was really happy to get it.
You have to come in from a big football family. I expect that your friends and family have followed you everywhere you've been, really, and followed your progress.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, my mum, dad, brother, and sister followed me up and down the country since I was under 8. So they would come watch me, and my family would travel to long distances. Like I said, my uncle came to Germany and places like that. So no, they love watching me play, and it's for them it's been really, they've had great experiences as well.
Well, let's just obviously we spoke about that goal against Morecambe. Let's just take. So when the ball came out today, just the ball sat up, was it just begging to be hit?
Yeah, normally I try and get it down and try and thread someone through, but now this time I thought, you know what, why not? Just hit it and see what happens.
So after Carlisle, George, it must have given you a lot of time to reflect on the last couple of years playing professional football and what you wanted to do next, I expect.
Yeah, like I said, I think, I didn't move down to Carlisle. I was travelling every day with a couple of other lads, so that's not right to do really when you're trying to progress in that. So it's a great club, Carlisle, and every time I spoke to all the fans, they were fantastic. It probably wasn't the right move for me at that time. But no, I have nothing bad to say about them.
So after a bit of a break, a couple of months off, you decided to join Chester in the Vanarama National League North on just a short-term deal initially. Just how did Jono and Byrne, they're two good friends of mine, how did they persuade you to join the club?
Well, funny enough, they contacted my dad when I was at Carlisle in January to see if I would go there. But at the time I was injured. So I didn't think it was the right thing to do with my injury. So no, I went down and I trained for 2 days with them. And then, I decided to stay there after playing 2 games over the bank holiday in August because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, initially it was a very short deal, wasn't it? Was it a month, just a month trial, just see how it went, and then you must have been really impressed by the setup at Chester. Not just the setup at the club, but the philosophy that Jono and Byrne have. They are very resolute, and they wear the hearts on the sleeves, and a lot of people like that in football.
Yeah, I mean, they had two midfielders that got injured, so they needed someone to help them out over the. I think they played Friday, Monday, Saturday, Monday. They played, sorry. So I signed to play them 2 games, and then I played well in both of the games, and we just decided to stay for even longer.
Yeah, you hit the ground running. You scored that goal against Leamington. I think it was, what was it, 12, 13 seconds after the restart. It was a memorable goal, I expect, for you.
Yeah, no, it was. Previous games we kept from kickoff. We normally do the same stuff, but we decided to pass it out to Joel, who was on the left wing, and surprise him, and it did. Took my goal well, and I was glad to get my first Chester goal a lot sooner than my first professional goal.
Well, let's just take a look at that goal again. Yeah, so just what's it been like playing at that level? I know it's non-league football, but it is a great level and a very high standard as well. You're playing with some great attacking players at Chester. Akwasi Asante, he's a great player. There's so many great forwards at Chester, and it must give you you can't get too complacent because there's a lot of competition for places, especially at that standard.
Yeah, definitely. I know non-league because my dad used to manage Ratcliffe Borough for 20 odd years, so me and my brother would go and watch them every week. So I already knew what it was all about. But when I joined Chester, I knew it was going to be a hard standard, and we've got a few good young players who are hungry to move up the leagues.
So after impressing the gaffers and everyone at Chester, you decided to join on a full-time basis. Just how much confidence has it given you playing week in, week out again? It was a really dark time for you before that. You were considering walking away from the game. You were a bit fed up after life after Carlisle, and you didn't really know what to do next. Just how hard was that coming through that and finding a great club in Chester?
Yeah, it was very hard. I mean, I didn't like the politics in football really. I know a lot of people know about it. So I just wanted to go somewhere, enjoy my football, and see what happens. And Byrne and Jono have done that for me. They just allowed me to play with freedom. And I played when I was under Rosler at Fleetwood. I was playing week in, week out. So it really does help you. But then you've got players in your position also who want the shirt. So it makes you play better and it makes you keep that shirt.
It's great to have managers that have confidence in your ability, much like you know yourself that you have ability. Obviously, you played a lot of games for Fleetwood, then you moved to Carlisle, didn't really work out, and then you're going back to playing regular football. It must have brought all that confidence from the time at Fleetwood straight back.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice when players and managers praise you and give you confidence. So I think every football player is 10 times better when they've got confidence. And that's what they've given me, and hopefully I've shown them what I can do, and I can just move on.
There's no real clarity, George, on when the National League North campaign will get underway, but you must have very high hopes ahead of next season. There are so many positives to take from this season.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever league we're in, even if the playoffs don't happen and we stay in National League North, I think we're really favourites to go up. Even winning the league, we've got a great young squad, and with a few additions, I'm sure we will be right up there.
One of the highlights of the season must have been that Kings Lynn game and a late winner, and just the drama of it, the crowd, the atmosphere, everything else. It must have, like I said before, after the Bayern Munich game at City, the dressing room must have been buzzing after that particular win.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the best win of the season, really. Either that or the Southport one on Boxing Day. But no, I think we started against Kings Lynn. We started really, really well. And to go you know, we needed that really to give us all a big boost, give the fans a boost. And, you know, it was just class of Grandy. You know, he's 35, 36 years of age, and it was class of him just to get the winner.
I think that's what's great about non-league football and the philosophy that Burnham and John have. They're very emotional, and they like to wear the hearts on the sleeve, as I said before. And that game, obviously, Kings Lynn were top of the league and we were underdogs and all that sort of thing. And it must have been great to cast the league standings aside and just record that great win and give yourself some confidence. But it seems to be much like the season's gone, up and down, up and down. We beat them and then struggled to get any consistent results after that.
Yeah, I think when we beat them, I think, you know, we all thought definitely in the change room after that, that was it. Then that we was going to go unbeaten to the end of the season, or we was going to go on a good run for sure. But like you said, that's been Chester's season really, up and down. You know, we have 3 good results, but then we don't get a run going. So hopefully next season, that's something that we can change and we can get a really, really good run going.
So looking back at where it all started for you at Manchester City to where you are now playing your trade at Chester, it's been a fantastic journey so far, hasn't it? I expect you've had some great advice from some great players down the years.
Yeah, you know, like you said, I've come from City into Chester, gone through some experiences, but no, all the advice that I've had off certain players and individuals has been really good. You know, my dad's probably the best one. He gives me the best advice. You know, and I should have listened to him more when I was at City and Fleetwood, and maybe, you know, would have gone higher. But as long as I'm back enjoying my football and showing it on the pitch, then that's, you know, that's the main thing.
So obviously, George, you're only 25 at the moment. You've been playing football for so long. Just were there any particular players you looked up to growing up? Obviously, being a massive Man City fan.
Yeah, well, when I was growing up, City weren't really doing the best, really. So, but no, I was a big Steven Gerrard fan. When growing up, I think like everyone else, and especially when City got taken over and the players started coming in, people like Nasri, Silva, Barry, they were the players I was really looking at. You know, Fernandinho is another one who, you know, I rate highly. So yeah, they're the kind of players that I was looking at.
So just how was the difference? Obviously, you were at City when the takeover took place. Just how different was that from when it was obviously before the takeover? And they've changed so much and given so much back to the youth as well. Obviously, built their own ground to play on. There's so many facilities been added since the takeover all those years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I started off at Platt Lane, where it was, you know, they've been there for years, and then we moved over to Carrington. And obviously they have the great facilities now at the CFA, so a lot did change. Maybe not in the first few years it changed, but definitely now it's changed for the better. And City have always been big on their youth, but now I expect, you know, a lot more to come through.
Now you play with some fantastic players across your career. Now, earlier on this week, I asked you to name me your dream 11 using players that you've played with over the course of your career so far. If you could name those for us, starting from the back, moving forward.
Yeah, so when I was at Fleetwood, I played with a keeper called Alex Kearns. He was a really good keeper, and I got on with him really well. But he was massive for us in our unbeaten run that we did there, so I picked him to go in there. And then at the back, I picked Shea Facey, Pondy, Nathan Pond from Fleetwood, Jason Denea, who I played with at City, Joel Taylor, who's playing now at Chester with me. And then I've gone for myself in midfield with Sami Nasri, as I played with him in a friendly. And that was really, really good for me to do. A lad called Marco Lopez, who I played with at City, and he's gone on to Monaco, I think he is now.
Right.
And then Jordi and Hawala, who I played with at City, Devante Cole, and then David Ball, who I played with at Fleetwood.
I imagine there's a lot of players there you haven't named in your 11 that you've played with. Obviously, Man City over the years. Is there any particular players that you've played with in most of those age groups growing up? Sort of been friends with players at City for so long throughout your 15 years there?
Yeah, I mean, there was about 8 of us who were friends from probably say under 12s to under 18s. We in contact with now, and we try and get out whenever we can, whenever we're all free. So no, we've made childhood friends growing up, and that's probably been one of the most things I've gained out of growing up at City.
So George, it's been great speaking to you today, and I wish you all the very best with your preparations for next season or the playoffs, whichever we hear news of first.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been really good.